Rugby, Six Nations, the European Championship is coming together and it's nearly kicking off at the start of February. Pretty much on the 1st of February it is. So we'll quickly go through the predictions, the outlook, some of the squads that have already been released, and then we'll go through what I predict will be, I guess, the last standings, right? And the wins and the losses, etc., etc. We'll go through it today. We'll go through a couple of key players. And if you do like these sorts of videos, please like the video. Subscribe as well if you do enjoy rugby content, as it'll just keep getting better and better, hopefully, as the time keeps going on, right? Now, before we get into this one here, so it kicks off first game on the 31st of January. Well, this is here in Australia time anyway, okay? So please disregard the time, but it is 6 o'clock in the morning here on Friday the 31st. But you can see here, so France versus Wales in Stade de France. You know, there's only one way this game's going to go, let's be honest. It's going to be a bonus point win for France in front of a, crazy home crowd as it always is. And poor old Wales, I mean, they're just getting dealt a bad hand after bad hand. So I expect a big drubbing here. I'm thinking like 40 points, really. Depending if France, put on their strongest team, which I think they will. Then you got Scotland versus Italy in Murrayfield. So I think Scotland wins that one. Then you got Ireland versus England. And yes, of course, I think Ireland wins that one. So the top three teams really for this year's prediction, they all get home games. Then you got second round, Italy versus Wales, which I think will be a great game at Stadio Olimpico. I think there'll be a big crowd there because this is the game Wales, and Italy both can win. And, I'm predicting, Italy winning this one. Then you got England versus France at Twickenham. Yeah, unfortunately, I think France will pull that one through, even though it might be a tighter game than we predict. And then Scotland versus Ireland at Murrayfield. I think this is going to be a very close game. A very, very close game. Within 7 points, whichever team's going to lose, it'll be a bonus point. Look, I even think a draw is on the cards for that game as well. Then you got the next round. Then you got Wales versus Ireland at the Principality. Then you got England versus Scotland at Twickenham, which is a big, big game. And you got Italy and France at Stadio Olimpico. And we know how the Italians go in Italy. They can either keep the game close or it's just going to be a drubbing. Then you got Ireland versus France at Aviva. Big, big game. Very, very big game. So this is 50-50, right? I mean, it's going to be tough because the home team here might just get this win, I think. Maybe not. If France actually play up to their ability, then I think France wins. But Ireland at the home crowd, and they're such a structured team, yeah, it's tough. And then you got Murrayfield, Scotland versus Wales, and then England versus Italy at Twickenham. Then you got the round 5, Italy versus Ireland, Wales versus England, and France versus Scotland. Anything could happen here. It could come down to the end where Ireland need the win and France playing Scotland. France loses, Ireland win. There's a lot of things that can happen here. And then Wales versus England there as well. So, yeah, a few games there. Obviously, the rules are, if you score 4 tries or more, you get bonus point. If you lose within 7, you get a bonus point, etc., etc. So I think the bonus points might come in handy here for some teams, I think. Now let's go through. So my predictions for the standings, I obviously think Wales will be last, as you can see there. Just with 2 competition points, I think it'll be 2 games where they lose within 7, and I think that'll be against England and Italy, where they'll lose within 7. So I'm thinking they'll keep it close against England. Yet again, I could just be way off of that one, maybe just 1 point, to be honest, against Italy. Now, the key players that I'm going to look out for anyway is Aaron Wainwright. I think he's been a shining light for them, and he's been consistent. 52 caps, 7 tries, and he's only 27, and he's 6'2" and 110 kilos. And then you got Thomas Williams, who's coming back from injury. They really missed him in those Autumn Nation series. 59 caps, 14 tries. He's 30. He's got experience. 5'10", 84 kilos. And a big loss for them for injury is Dewey Lake, the captain. 20 caps, 7 tries, 25, 6'1", and 116 kilos. So they lose a good ball runner. They lose leadership. So I think it's just another bad blow for this Welsh team. You can see the squad here. So you can see Into forwards, Kieran Asarati, James Botham, Elliot D, Taulape Faletau's back, Dafford, Jenkins, Will Griff John, Evan Lloyd, Kemsley Mathias, Jack Morgan, Sam Parry, Tommy Reffel, Will Rollins, Nicky Smith, Gareth Thomas, Freddie Thomas, Henry Thomas, Chris Chunza, Aaron Wainwright, Teddy Williams. And you got in the backs Josh Adams making a return, Ellis Bevan, Dan Edwards, Josh Hathaway, Eddie James, Ellis Mee, Blair Murray, Joe Roberts, Tom Rogers, Ben Thomas, Nick Tompkins from Saracens, Owen Watkin, Liam Williams, Roderick Williams, and Thomas Williams from Gloucester. You know, yeah, it's very... Obviously, they're in a building stage. They're recovering. But yeah, it just keeps getting worse for them, unfortunately. Now we go to number 5 with Italy. I think they'll finish on 7 competition points, 1 win, and 3 bonus points. They'll beat Wales. You got Juan Ignacio Brex, who's one of my key players for them, who actually captained them in the Autumn Nation Series for a game or two. 41 caps, 5 tries. He's 32, 6'3", and 94 kilos. So him, their center pairing is going to be, you know, with Limoncello, it's going to be key in that defense, right? And then you got Capuzzo, who I think can just break a game open. He's going to have to really, you know, instead of just waiting for that one moment where he breaks through, I guess we're all waiting for it because he's just so elusive, is that he just needs to get involved more. Get involved, get a touch, you know, do what Cheslin Colby does where he comes off the wing a lot, has a run in the middle, makes a, you know, big prop miss. And I think that's what he needs to do. And he's still very light. He's only in the, you know, maybe 70s, 80s kilos. So he needs to get involved. He's got the fitness, and hopefully he does. Then you got key loss for them is Mirko Spagnolo, 11 years old. Oh, sorry, 11 caps, 11 years old. 6'1", 110 kilos, suspension for 5 games from their last club game. Now we move on to their squad. So you got Simon Ferrari, Riccardo Favretto, Danilo Fischetti, Federico Ruzza, Marco Riccioni, Lorenzo Canoni, Luca Rizzoli, Alessandro Izacor, Jose Zilocchi, Michel Amaro, Gianmarco Lucchesi, Sebastian Negri, Giacomo Nicotera, Ross Vincent, Nicolo Canoni, and Manuel Zuliani for the forwards. So a lot of Benetton, couple from the French clubs like Lucchesi, from Toulon, Nicotera from Stade France, Riccioni from Saracen. So got a couple of players there, you know, gaining good experience. Fachetti's obviously a great player. Then you got in the backs, you got Alessandro Garbisi, Juan Ignacio Brex, Martin Page, Tommaso Menoncello, Stefan Vani from Vanay. And I think Vani was born in, I think it was Wales as well. Then got Capuzzo from Toulouse, Tommaso Allen, Matt Gallagher, Paolo Garbisi, Simon Gessi, my gosh, I can't even talk. Leonardo Marin, and Monty Ioane, who has become a little bit of a favorite down there. You know, obviously being cousins and things like that with some famous Australian players, right? Now we move on to number 4. So you got England. That's what I think. I think they'll finish on 11 points, 2 wins, 3 bonus points, beating Wales and Italy, keeping the game close, probably against 1 or 2 of the top teams. I think maybe Scotland and possibly against Ireland as well. You got key players for me is Ben Earl, 37 caps, 5 tries, 25, 6 foot, 107 kilos. He's going to have to be at that World Cup level to really help them and possibly help them win more games. Is going to be him and then Marcus Smith. They have to be on their best form. They can't be, you know, like a play good for 60 minutes. You got to play good for the whole 80. So they need 100% the whole way. Marcus Smith, 52 caps, 4 tries, 25 years old, 5'9", and 82 kilos. So if he plays the way they played in the Autumn Nation Series, I think they have a shot. He really, really played well. His defense is obviously the thing that lets him down. You see him on the wing sometimes and just getting smoked by the wingers. He just should not be there, but on his attack, he can change the game, right? Key loss is Faya Waboso, who got injured, and he's obviously pretty much like a pick for the English team. I obviously got the caps wrong on there. I'll quickly see what his actual caps are. Let's have a quick look. surely has not played that many games. Definitely not. He's too young. So he's played, yeah, about 10 caps for England, scoring 5 tries. So another typo there. Of course, I got to have one every single time. And I think, and he's only 22 years old. So he's only 22, very young. You know, obviously a player to watch for the future. One of the breakout players of the year, with Sasha and Satiti, with players like that. So a big honor for him. Now we move on to the English squad with Finn Baxter from the Quins, Ollie Chesham, Alex Coles, Luke Cowan-Dickey, Chandler Cunningham himself, Ben Curry, Tom Curry, Theo Dan, Alex Donbrunt, Ben Earl, Ellis Genge, who I think is another key player, vice captain, Jamie George, Joe Hayes, Ted Hill, Mauro Toje, who has now been named their captain, Asher Opoku Fojo, Bevan Rod, Will Stewart, and Tom Willis. Oscar Baird from the Quins is in for the backs, Elliot Daly, Fraser Dingwall, George Ford, Tommy Freeman, Ollie Lawrence, Alex Mitchell, Caden Murley, Harry Randall, Tom Rubuck, Henry Slade, Ollie Slideholm, Finn Smith, Marcus Smith, Freddie Stewart, and Jack Van Poorvliet. And I think Ollie Slideholm is also someone to watch. You know, I really like the way he plays. He's very slippery. He can break a lot of tackles. You got, you know, Oscar Baird, who I think deserves to call up as well. Playing quite well for the Quins. Yeah, and you got a lot of experience there in the forward. So I think that's the thing that will help them a lot. And they've brought in a couple of new players and also obviously changed, you know, who the captain is of Itoje, moving forward now to someone younger. And yeah, I think Underhill is injured as well. So that's another miss there for them as well. He's a great defensive, flanker. Number 3. So I'm going with Scotland here. It's not going to be their year, unfortunately. I just think, you know, obviously in the backs, they're really good. Forwards, they're good as well, but they just don't have to what I think is that XX power. And I think, you know, a couple of key games they're not playing at home as well. So, like I said, they could beat Ireland as well. So it could be them second here. I think, you know, that top 3, it could be any 3 of them can win. So Scotland, Ireland, or France. What I would rather hope is that Scotland beats, let's say, Ireland beat France, and then France beats Scotland. So it's like imagine if all these teams could just beat everyone. And I think last year we've seen that, right? With Italy drawing of France, or I think, was it France or Ireland or something like that? And then, yeah, a couple of upsets last year. I remember Italy beating Wales as well. So there's a few upsets there last year. And like I said, I'm going to be watching full games of every game this year. Because since the URC, obviously with the South African teams coming in, obviously here living in the Southern Hemisphere, it's a bit harder with the time difference. But at least we do have a pretty good streaming service now that, you know, you can watch any replay and you can watch it all live on your own time. So it's not an excuse anymore these days. And I think that there's not been a lot of key losses for them. They also haven't named their squad. It is going to be named today sometime. But I think the key loss, Andy Christie, he played in the, obviously, Six Nations last year. I think he was quite good. In my opinion, what I've seen looking back at it, he made some good plays. Obviously, a couple not so great, but I think he's definitely one for the future. He's only 25. And that's the thing with the Scottish team. They got so many good loose forwards and, you know, young forwards coming through. So maybe next year or the next couple of years, they're really building, I think, with these young players, and they're getting bigger and stronger every single time. We move to number 2. This is contentious, right? And I'm going Ireland going second. So I'm thinking they're going to get knocked off. 20 competition points, 4 wins, 4 bonus points. So they'll beat Wales, Italy, England, and Scotland. And I think they'll lose to France. With the key players being for Ireland, Andrew Porter. And I think he's going to have a great Six Nations. And they need him to. Because, you know, obviously with a couple of front rowers maybe not going to be there, you know, going forward, I think he needs to have a big one. And I think he will. He's really become, you know, really taking it a number 1 jersey and made it his own. His scrummaging is one of the best in the world. So, and him missing out last Lions tour with injury, I think he really wants to put his best foot forward. And if he stays healthy, he's the shoe-in him or, you know, Ellis Genge for the #1 spot. So they're both definitely going to make the squad. No joke. So 70 caps, 6 tries, 28 years old, 6 foot, 123 kilos, an absolute beast. With the other key player, Kalen Doris, obviously captain, you know, one of the top 4 best players in the world, ranked by World Rugby anyway. 47 caps, 8 tries, 26, 6'4", 111 kilos. So obviously they got the big boys in there. Yet again, not knowing the full spectrum of injuries, the only one I can see is if Sheehan does miss a couple games and Rob Herring injured as well, who's usually the #3 hooker for Ireland, then that could be a bit of a loss. But obviously a lot of depth over there in Ireland, so someone will step up. And he's obviously got 42 caps, 6 tries. He's 34, so a lot of experience. 6'1", 103 kilos. And then their squad will also be announced today as well sometime. And also Andy Farrell not being there as well, obviously taking over the Lions role. Maybe that will affect the Irish as well, so you never know. But France, I have winning. So 24 points, 5 wins, perfect year, 4 bonus points. Doing the nearly unthinkable, right? I really hope it isn't going to be 5 wins. I really hope it's only going to be 4. I hope every team tastes defeat. I'd be very happy to be wrong if each of the top teams, everyone loses 1 game. You know, you hate one team just winning all, but the way France have been playing and the kind of cattle they have now, I really think, you know, they're going to be unbeatable, especially with Ramos, his goal kicking is so accurate, Dupont leading it as well. You know, we see what he does. Even though obviously World Rugby is really protecting #9s more and more. It's almost like the best player in the world these days is a #9, and World Rugby wants to protect them. But anyway, that's another talk for another day. We know how World Rugby is, all right? Whenever there's a really good player who's very marketable, which the whole world follows, then they really protect them. I mean, Richie McCaw, love him or hate him, like I think he's the best player ever, him and Dan Carter. And, you know, Richie was a protected species. We all know that, all right? We know that. Unless if you're obviously All Black supporter, you won't understand. But every single time there's a generational player who's the best for many, many years, you know, World Rugby seems to want to protect them. And, you know, whatever. It's worked so far, I guess. And then their key loss here for France is Charles Olivon, I think. You know, size, previous captain as well, so experience. And I mean, you look at Piato Movaka as well. I think this guy, man, he is, you know, top 3 best hookers in the world at the moment for sure. So I think he's really stepped up, and he's going to be a key player. You know, you watch him in games, this guy just breaks it loose. He's quick. He's nearly as fast as a center, and the dude's like 120 kilos. So I think he'll be key. And then the final standings here, final ladder prediction. I think France, 5 wins, 4 bonus points, 24 points. Ireland, 4 wins, 4 bonus points, 20 points. Scotland, 3 wins and 4 bonus points, 16. England, 2 wins, 3 bonus points, 11. Italy, 1 win, 3 bonus points, 7 points. And I think Wales won't get a win, 2 bonus points, where they keep it close against a couple and finish on 2 points. So let me know what you think below. I think we'll be following this Six Nations pretty closely. I'm pretty freaking excited for it. You know, 1 round of Champions Cup to go, and then we're pretty much into it. So excitement is an understatement, right? Let me know what you think. What are your predictions? Who do you think will win? Like I said, with France playing Ireland in Ireland, you know, Ireland will probably be the favourites in that one. So, and having a couple players back from injury, I think Ireland could really sneak that one away. I really do. And I do wonder if there'll actually be a draw in this Six Nations. I think that'll be super cool. But I'll end it on that. Like the video if you did like it. Subscribe as well if you do want to see future videos. And I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.